Yo everybody, welcome to my channel. This story about watching Naruto and Gaara, a childhood friends. Let's start.
Gaara looked up at the clear blue sky hanging over the hidden sand village. His eyes brightened as a messenger hawk from Konoha, the village where his best friend, Nar, lived, flew in. A smile met the extremely wise yet young Kazecage's lips as he went to retrieve the message. As he read, his eyes widened in fear. Kankuro, Tamari, he called to his older brother and sister. Pack your things. We're departing for Konoha immediately. What's wrong, Gaara? Kankuro asked. It's Naruto. Gaara's eyes were filled with anger, and both his siblings were thankful he no longer contained Shukaku, even though his capability to control sand remained. It was actually very ominous. He's been captured. Temari's eyes widened. The Akatsuki. She shrank a little remembering what they had done to her brother. I don't know. Gaara's eyes fell. It was Naruto who pulled him from the Hell Noah's loneliness. Naruto who saved him from the Akatsuki. Now it was Naruto who was Suff. That was less than an hour ago. Now Gaara and his siblings rushed toward Konoha. He had to admit it was a little reckless, leaving Suna without its cage, but he knew. Were good Junin who would protect his people there. Right now all he could think about was protecting his first real friend. Finally, after running and running, they made Konoha. As the trio walked into her office, Tsunade's eyes widened. Cage-sama, you didn't have to come all this way yourself. Gaara waved her off. I appreciate the concern, Hokage-sama, but Naruto is a dear friend of mine. This is an emergency situation, right? If we don't hurry, he could be killed. Worse. Gaara flinched as he remembered the pain the Akatsuki put him through. Was it them? No, thank God, Tsunade said, recognizing the sorrow in the other cage's eyes. Upon hearing this, Gaara calmed down a bit, and for the first time noticed a small girl crying in the corner with whom was obviously an academy teacher hovering protective. Next to her, Gaara walked over and crouched down in front of the child. What's the matter? He asked with genuine concern. The sniffling child looked down. It's all my fault. Naruto-kun is gone because of me. Gaara's face creased with worry. He stood up and turned toward the teacher. What does she mean? My name is Iruka. The shinobi began. I was Naruto's sensei while he was still an academy student. Every year the student body nominates shinobi they want to come to academy. Then they vote. This year Naruto won, most likely due to the incident with your village. He was more than happy to comply. Iruka's mind took him back to the unfortunate event. All the kids were excited to have a ninja that went from failure to success. It made them all feel like had a chance as shinobi. It had been during the jutsu training that things went downhill. Naruto started off slow. First, he showed them the walk-on walls jutsu. Then, the walk-on water jut. Had just completed the shadow clone jutsu and let the kids train with them a little. All the students looked on in surprise as Naruto repeated the shadow clone jutsu, but he only made one duplicate of himself. And now for the Rasengan. Naruto grinned. You guys are gonna love this. It was the fourth Hokage's jutsu. Young faces looked on in awe as Naruto's shadow clone foe. The swirling blue chakra in his hand. Just then, there was a rude interruption to the demonstration. Uzumaki Naruto. An unfamiliar voice called. Naruto wheeled around, Rasengan in hand. You're coming with us. We suggest you go quietly. Akatsuki. Naruto thought. No, they're missing the cloak. In your dreams. He yelled aloud. You have perfect timing, actually. Now I can really show. These kids Rasengan. The academy students all cheered. Then the unthinkable happened. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Naruto turned to see another man holding a knife to the throat of one of the freshman academy girls. He banished his shadow clone and Rasengan disappear. Alright, Naruto said with a heavy heart. I'll go with you. Good decision. The first man to show up took the box he was carrying off his back and opened it. Naruto stepped forward. Two more men came and the three grabbed tying him cruelly tight inside the box. Then they closed it and put a chakra sealing tag on it. When they finished they ran off. The man holding the student stayed long. Give the others a head start before seemingly vanishing into thin air. Iruka-sensei looked down. We were all powerless with a student hostage. The worst part is Naruto probably could have beaten the guys if they hadn't threatened Yukiko. The girl, Yukiko, shrank. It's my fault. Gaara looked at the child with sympathy. It wasn't your fault at all. Gaara said firmly. Those were very bad people who came to your school, and Naruto is a very good P. He didn't have to let himself be captured. It was a choice he made because he couldn't live with himself if he let them kill you. I bet right now he's fighting furiously to ESC. Don't want to hear any more nonsense about blaming yourself. Understand? The girl nodded and smiled up at Gaara, who smiled in return. Now why don't you head home? Sure, you've had a long day. The little girl ran out, obviously reassured. Kankuro watched as his little brother's face fell. Are you really so sure, Gaara? He asked, though he already knew the answer. No, I wish I could be. Anyway, it's really not that child's fault, so there's no need for her to feel guilty. I've assembled a team of Konoha shinobi as well. I just sent Shizune to get them. It will consist of Haruno Sakura, Rock Lee, Hyuga Neji, Tenten, Abram Shino, and Kakashi. Tsunade cut in. Good idea. Gaara agreed with a nod. He had fought among the leaves many times and he knew their abilities. That will leave a sensory-type ninja to every 3-man C. Can search in 3 different directions. It will be very efficient. That's the idea. Tsunade replied. We all want to see Naruto again, and we have no clue why they kidnapped him in the first place. Tears fringed the 5th Hokage's eyes. Everyone stood in silence. None of them could bear the idea of Naruto's dream ending here, after he worked so hard. Suddenly the door flew open. We have arrived with the swiftness of youth. Lee came in followed by the others. He turned his head and was surprised to see Gaara, my youthfull friend. I thought you were the Cage now. What are you doing here? Before Gaara had a chance to respond, Sakura's worry kicked in. There must be some sort of crisis with the Sand Village. Right, Tsunade-sama. Not exactly. Naruto's been captured. Sakura glanced over at Gaara. The Akatsuki? No, thankfully. Gaara said. We still don't know what their purpose is. That still doesn't explain why Cage-sama of all people is here in Konoha. Tamari spoke softly now, which was pretty out of character, so everyone was careful to listen. Naruto was Gaara's first friend. Without him, Gaara wouldn't have become Kaz. In the first place, he saved my little brother. A look of determination took over her face, and the old Tamari was back. Now we're going to save him. We don't have time to standing around like this. Everyone go gather what you need and meet us by the main gate. Scatter. The Leaf Ninja all took off at a breakneck pace, and the Sand Ninja left behind them at a more leisurely speed. They were just as worried as the others, save for maybe Saw. But they already had everything they needed, so there was no point to rushing. Hey, what are you doing here? The siblings of the Sand looked up to see a boy about their age standing protectively in front of a large dog. Run home, Akamaru. It's fine, Gaara said, calm and serene. We're here on Hokage-sama's request. The boy didn't seem to hear him. He turned to his dog again. I told you to run, Akamaru. Did you already forget the Chunin exams? Gaara's eyes widened as his mind flashed back to the Chunin exams. He heard the sickening snap as he broke the small puppy's leg with Sand Coffin and the whimpering. He saw again the angry and pained expression on Kiba's face, and he understood. Who do you think you are? Tamari demanded, bringing Gaara completely back to the present. Gaara is the case. Gaara raised his hand. Enough, Tamari. It's my own fault. I'm sorry, and I'm very glad Akamaru is okay. Gaara walked away and his shocked siblings followed. Hey, Kiba yelled. What's up? It must be important if the Hokage called in another village. Gaara looked up at Kiba. Naruto's been kidnapped. We still don't know the intent behind it. Gaara watched as Kiba's face became a mask of horror. Akamaru paced around and whimpered. Gaara was pleased to see the effect Naruto had on his village. One day he be Hokage, as long as they could get him back. Kiba jumped on Akamaru's back and they took off at full speed towards the Hokage's office. Damn it. Naruto squirmed in the small box. His hands and feet felt kinda funny. These stupid ropes were cutting off his circulation. Naruto tried to turn around to untie H with his teeth, but the space was too small. Suddenly, the motion stopped. He felt himself being lifted off the man's back and dropped roughly, yet he still continued to strew. You can relax now. We're here. The man who had been carrying Naruto pulled him out of the box and tossed him to the center of the room. Then 4 of the men circled. Four walls. Chakra barrier jutsu. They exclaimed. Naruto howled in pain. I suggest you hold still. One of them said. If you struggle, it injects your chakra with a poison. It's non-lethal, but it hurts like hell. If you get dosed enough, it leaves you in temporary paralysis. You're no good to us like that, now are you? There was a taunting tone in his captor's voice. What do you want with me, anyway? Naruto demanded. What does anyone ever want? Money. The malicious group left the dark room laughing, and Naruto once again began to struggle. Good. Gaara said. Everyone's here. We have 3 sensory type ninja, so there will be 1 per 3-man squad. Kakashi, Sakura, and Shino will make up 1 squad. Tenten, and Lee will be the second. The third will consist of Tamari, Kankuro, and myself. Any questions? Yeah. Tenten said, a thoughtful look on her face. Who's your sensory ninja? I can use the sand to scout ahead. If my team finds Naruto, I'll send a ball of sand into the sky. Kakashi is the leader of his team. If you find Naruto, send a message with Bugs, Shino. Neji will be his team's leader. Tenten, do you have a flare in one of those scrolls of yours? She nodded. Good. If you guys find Naruto, shoot it off. Yeah, I figured. Now are we doing this or not? Neji tried not to show it, but he seemed amused by Tenten's antics. Yes, we are. Gaara replied in a solemn tone. Scatter. After going a good distance from Konoha, Gaara began spreading his sand. The sand siblings continued to move this way with a circle of 1 square mile encompassing the. They ran. Gaara could see in minute detail every bird in every tree with his sand. Shino's bugs searched miles in their direction while the shinobi themselves searched high. Low, leaving no rock unturned. Neji's Byakugan gave him 360-degree vision and, of course, Lee being Lee, they were covering as much ground as if both boys possessed the jutsu. All 3 sensory type ninja stopped, holding a hand out to signal for their friends to pause as well. I can see them. They're just up ahead. Well, Tenten demanded. Aren't we going after them? Neji nodded. They ran forward on his signal. They're in that shack. Shino said. My bugs found Naruto. Well, let's get going. Sakura said, worry in her eyes. Calm down. We need a plan first. Underneath his calm exterior, Kakashi was worried as well. There are people in that shack up ahead. I'll make an eye out of sand and find out what's going on. The 2 eyes in Gaara's head widened. Are you alright? Temari's eyebrows pulled together. Not much could cause the fear in her little brother's eyes. That fear turned to anger. Gaara's fist clenched, destroying. Sand Eye. It's Naruto. They're torturing him. Well then, what are we waiting for? Kankuro dashed towards the shack. Sand Coffin. Leaf Hurricane. Kanai. CHYA. 360 palms rotation. Quote. Bugs. Ant and Crow. Chidori. Tornado. And then it was over. All 3 sets of shinobi watched as their adversaries fell into piles of dead squirrels with their attacks. 2 of the Narutos fell soon after. That would explain the false chakra signatures. Neji kicked himself internally for not telling the difference. They were fakes. Someone's got to be close by to control the jutsu, though. Kakashi lifted his headband to reveal his Sharingan eye. Shino followed suit and deployed his. Naruto, calm down. It's okay. We're here now. We'll get you out. This Naruto cried out and writhed in agony. Gaara, help me. Break the jutsu. He pleaded. Gaara stepped forward, reaching out, just to have this Naruto turn into a heap. Dead squirrels as well. A sadistic chuckle could be heard in the closet in the corner. Gaara whirled around, sand breaking down the closet door and encasing its inhabitant. His head remained exposed. Where the hell is Naruto? Gaara asks this so calmly even his siblings shudder. Gaara's prisoner simply smirks at him. I'm going to ask you one more time before this messy. What the hell did you do with my friend? When silence was his only response, Gaara clenched his fist, crushing the other man's arm. Oh yeah, he yelled. That's it. Gaara's eyes widened before he smacked the heel of his palm on his forehead. Great. He thought. Of all the people, I got a goddamn masochist. He walked out of the CA. With his sister, brother, and sand-containing psychopath following. He quickly signaled the others to head back to Konoha by drawing the village symbol in the air with sand. All arrived outside the gates of the Leaf Village at about the same time. What happened? Who's that? Sakura questioned. I have no clue who he is, but I'm fairly certain he's the caster of that weird squirrel clone jutsu. Gaara replied, heading in. Well, crush his arm or something. He'll talk. Sakura was desperate. I'm afraid not. I tried that. He's a masochist. He takes pleasure from pain. Gaara's eyes narrowed slightly. Naruto felt groggy. He could tell they were moving again. He was back in that god-awful box. He idly wondered why they bothered tying him up again. He still couldn't move that toxin. Slowly, Naruto drifted back into darkness. They walked into Tsunade's office to find her arguing with Kiba. Come on. I know Akamaru and I could track Naruto. We know his scent by heart. His feet never touched the ground. They used a seal. Naruto left no traces. The Hokage's tone softened and her amber eyes fell. Did you think I wasn't worried too? Ki seemed to back off a bit at this. Maybe this will help, Gaara said, throwing the prisoner forward, keeping his wrists and ankles bound tightly in sand. He enjoys pain, so that approach won't work. Not a problem. Ino. Tsunade called. The girl's head poked through the door. Hi, Tsunade-sama. Go get your father. We have a lead to Naruto's whereabouts. Ino took off at full speed to find the older Yamanaka. Not even 2 days had passed when he came up with answer they sought. Naruto's been sold to the wandering ninja. Gaara's eyes narrowed as Tsunade delivered the news. Where is he? I'll get Kankuro and Tamari and we'll go retrieve him. Tsunade sighed. He didn't know. We don't have a where or a why, just a who. Gaara closed his eyes and sighed. Do you have any information on the wandering ninja? Yes, as a matter of fact. They had a run-in with Naruto. He defeated their current leader just a little while after his battle with you. He's still a genin because of that. Gah. A wave of guilt. They're a group of ninja without a village. They travel around stealing jutsu from other ninja. We don't where they're currently stationed, and there seems no way of tracking them. No one knows who took over after Naruto's encounter. Could that be why they took him? Gaara asked. Maybe the current leader wants to prove the wandering ninja have increased in strength. Tsunade nodded, deep in thought. That's a very real possibility. In the meantime, I suggest you return to Suna. It's risky to leave your village for too long. I promise you I word the minute we figure something out. Gaara hesitated. I agree to an extent. As the case cage, it's important for me to return to Suna now. However, I refuse to remain idle. I will send out search teams to look. Wandering Ninja's current base. If I learn anything, I'll report it back to you. Thank you, Case-Cage-sama. Naruto woke up still in the box. He was really sore, but he could move his head back and forth. His hands and feet were getting tingly again. Well, this was messed up. To struggle again. Then he had an idea. Most people would have thought of it a lot earlier, but let's face it. Naruto's not that bright. Help. Gaara, Tamari, and Kankuro finally returned home to Suna. Gaara fell behind a little. His siblings didn't bug him, they knew he needed time to think. And so it was that Gaara found himself wandering around Suna. The case cage couldn't escape the plaguing image of the fake Naruto writhing in pain and pleading for his help. Gaara couldn't stop wondering if they did that to the real Naruto. No, he was sure they did. What purpose did the wandering ninja have? Was it revenge? It must have been humiliating to have the head of your village easily defeated by a 12-year-old. Gaara's glare intensified. Had Naruto already been delivered? What horrors were they poo? His already tormented soul through. Was he even alive, or had they already killed him? No. Gaara couldn't think like that. His friend was alive and he was going to find him. Gaara started walking home. He hadn't noticed before, but it was getting dark. Tsunade was still sitting at her desk, poring over file after file. Everything they had on the wandering ninja and everything they extracted from crazy squirrel guy's brain. Was convinced the wandering ninja wouldn't go through all the trouble if they only planned on killing Naruto. There had to be something deeper. Tsunade woke up the next morning still at her desk. She peeked at the clock. 10 a.m. Damn. She had wasted 6 hours sleeping. Hey Tsunade. Her white-haired teammate from Genin Days burst into her office. Joria. She greeted him. What's up? I've been looking all over the village for him. Did you send Naruto on a mission? When will he be back? Crap. Crappity crap 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 crap. Joria was Naruto's ninja master, and he would not take this well. Sit. Tsunade commanded. Joria knew to obey when she used that tone. He didn't think he had done anything to offend her. Joria sighed. What did that idiot do this time and why did it get me in trouble? He was nervous some of his habits had rubbed off on his protege. Nothing. Neither of you have done anything wrong. Her tone softened. Somehow Joria trusted this even less. There was a weird feeling in his gut. He's gone. She whis. Joria's eyes widened and his hands gripped the armrests of his chair so tightly you could hear the wood cracking. You mean to tell me he's dead? The Sanin could get the words out. The world would be at a loss without that spiky-haired idiot. No, not dead. Kidnapped. Before you say anything, it wasn't Akatsuki. If I had to guess, information was leaked that Naruto is the Jinchuriki. The village will probably be a ransom demand for our greatest weapon, any day now. People disgust me. Joria's grip tightened further and splinters of wood flew around the room. Any idea who the leak might be? If I had to guess, I'd say Mizuki. He's still in prison, but he could have spilled it to another inmate whose sentence was up. There's a whole other side to this too, though. The who kidnapped him originally sold him to the wandering ninja. Naruto defeated their equivalent of a Hokage when he was still only 12. Nothing happened during the reveal. Naruto is the Jinchuriki host. This could simply be about revenge. Joria stood. I'm going to have a little chat with Mizuki. Mizuki had taught at the academy with Iruka, but he wanted power. He tricked Naruto into stealing a scroll. This plan ended with Naruto beating the crap out of a now-then Mizuki. Guy-sensei put a well-placed kick to his student's forehead, and his student went sprawling back. There was a red imprint of Guy's sandal on Lee's forehead. What's the matter, Lee? Your guard's down. No, I'm fine, Guy-sensei. Let's go again. The two fought in a blur of green spandex until Guy once again had his prized pupil down for the count. What's the matter, Lee? You never go down this easily. Lee looked down. I fear for Naruto-san. Not just his physical well-being is at risk while he's with the enemy, but his mental health as well. Everyone is always against him. Worried their darkness will leak into his soul. You are on his side, right, Lee? Of course, Guy-sensei. Then the power of youth will keep the evil at bay. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. The pair burst into tears and hugged as the sunset of youthfulness appeared behind them even though it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Hiyashi, the head of the revered Hyuga clan and renowned ninja, had no clue what to do. He was completely helpless. Hinata had been waiting in the living room for Neji T. return from an emergency mission. Hiyashi heard his nephew come in and came to say hello to find Hinata crashing into the couch sobbing. Panic enveloped the usually calm head, and he activated his Byakugan to carefully examine the boy. Nothing was wrong with him. Hiyashi sat down and hugged his hysteric daughter. What happened on that mission? Why won't she stop crying? He practically whined, which was very out of character. The powerful Hyuga did not do well with tears. My mission was to track down the people who kidnapped Uzumaki Naruto and bring him back. We were unsuccessful. Neji bowed his head. He was obviously upset too. Uncle could handle it as long as there were no tears. Hiyashi's eyes narrowed. When that boy returns I will kill him. No. Hinata screamed, sobbing harder and clutching her father's arm. The head of the Hyuga clan got a sneaking suspicion that some crazed being was causing all this. After calming his daughter and giving his nephew a reassuring pat on the shoulder, he rushed off to find me. Gulps. Iruka and his class were all silent as the kids threw their shuriken. All of them felt guilty. If they hadn't asked Naruto to come, he wouldn't have been so vulnerable. A girl thr. Shuriken with perfect accuracy every time. She wondered why she hadn't tried anything on the man that was holding Yukiko. They were all here for ninja training, weren't? School was finally out for the day, and Iruka decided to take a walk around Konoha. Eventually he found himself outside Naruto's apartment. Iruka gently pushed the door. Naruto, how many times have I told you to lock your door? He scolded gently. Naruto had always been like a son to Iruka. He would die to protect him. If only those Peo hadn't used such dirty tricks. Once Naruto made up his mind to go with them, there was no stopping it. Iruka padded quietly into the tiny apartment as if trying not to whack someone. Naruto, this place is a pigsty. You need to take care of yourself. Iruka cleaned Naruto's apartment, then settled in on his couch and began correcting papers. He was See the answers to the last question. Who is a ninja that inspires you? For various reasons, they all chose Naruto. Shikamaru and Choji sat by the logs at the training grounds, strategizing. All tight. Shikamaru said. We know the Wandering Ninja don't have an actual village, but they have to have some sort of base of operations. Considering the fact that the other people to abduct him, they know we'll be going after Naruto, so they'll take him someplace a leaf ninja would never go, or is forbidden to go. Other ninja villages are, because the wandering ninja would be no more welcome than we would. Choji chomped on his chips thoughtfully. Maybe it's in a country we're not allied with. Somewhere close to a village. Shikamaru thought for a minute. No. The ninja of that village would have a patrol. They run too big a risk of being caught and brought in. Choji's head snapped up as he got another idea. Maybe they took him someplace we don't even know about. Shikamaru once again looked up to the all-knowing clouds before answering. Possible, but unlikely. We have very complete maps. This is so troublesome. Shikamaru fell to the grass, looking at the shifting clouds, still deep in thought. Kakashi's one visible eye looked exhausted. He hadn't slept since Naruto's disappearance. He sighed and sat down at Ichiraku's. The Junin had just returned from survey. Last known whereabouts of his student. He found himself ordering 2 bowls, one his favorite and one Naruto's. Any news? The old man who ran the shop asked. We know who took him. It was a group called the Wandering Ninja. But, as their name implies, they're nomads. No one knows their current whereabouts. The shopkeep daughter delivered the 2 bowls with a worried look on her face. Kakashi began to eat his and pushed the other over to Naruto's usual seat. Kakashi finished his own bow. Left the other, hoping that if it waited there long enough, Naruto would come find it. Of course, he didn't. Sakura and Ino sat up in Ino's room, armed with ice cream. You like him, Ino said, breaking the silence. Excuse me. Sakura was puzzled. Naruto. You like him. It's there, now, in your eyes. You're even more worried than when you talk about Sasuke. That's because with Sasuke we know there's time to find him. We know exactly what Orochimaru wants and how long it will take him to achieve it. With Naruto, we just No. Ino nodded. I get it. She wondered silently how long it would take Sakura to stop lying to herself. Just then the door to Ino's house creaked open. The girls rushed down stairs and swarmed Mr. Yamanaka. Dad. Anything new? Mr. Yamanaka looked down to meet pleading eyes. Only frustration. We've hit a wall. He knew he would likely be captured in his task. Crazy squirrel guy doesn't know any details that we didn't already know. Don't worry. Naruto's strong. He'll be okay. The father wasn't quite as sure as he seemed, but he didn't want to make the girls worry. The two went back to their ice cream and continue. Discuss current depressing events. Naruto sat against a tree, not having much choice in the matter. He was tied very securely to the trunk. His mouth was starting to hurt from being dry. Yelling for help had succeeded in getting him gagged. He looked up at the moon, pleading. The more he struggled, the tighter the ropes seemed to get, and without the use of his hands, without the use of his jutsu. Gaara sighed, looking out the window. It was getting late. He went up and sat on the roof like he had many sleepless nights with Shukaku and looked at the moon. It didn't him the same comfort as usual, however. Instead he grew increasingly uneasy. Those nights before with Shukaku whispering tales of blood and sorrow in his ear, making yearn for it, the moon had kept him sane. It made him feel less attached, so why now did it only bring thoughts of Naruto, one of the very few people he let close to him? Now did it abandon him, and make him feel only worse? Maybe it was because his first and closest friends had admitted to the cage that he, too, on a day when the V had been particularly cold and heartless, would sit and watch the moon, feeling disconnected from the cruel world that surrounded them. Gaara stood and headed to his room. Sleep. That beautiful escape that eluded him for the first 15 years of his life. That was the first night Gaara had a dream. At least, what he thought it was. As he later discovered, it was a nightmare. It was a horrible experience, and, for the first time in his life, he wished him and Naruto hadn't talked much as they did. If they hadn't, Gaara's mind wouldn't have so much to torment him with. Gaara stood, clutching tightly to his teddy bear. He was 5 again. At first everything seemed pleasant. People didn't shy away from him. Everyone was nice to him, not of things to him in fear that he would kill them, but in genuine kindness. He noticed that he was surrounded by grass and trees. That meant he wasn't in his village, but with that. Suddenly, everyone's kind fronts disappeared as a blond boy with eyes of blue filled with the deepest of suffering walked into sight. Everyone quieted and turned away. So, ran by and threw rocks at the tiny frame, who cringed in pain as bruises appeared. Gaara yelled at these people, finally realizing exactly where he was and who the boy saw. Before him was. The people around him could no longer hear him, though. Gaara settled on going and playing with Naruto so he wouldn't be lonely, but he discovered in dismay that his friend couldn't hear him either. Gaara followed and could do. But watched as Naruto was ridiculed, ignored, and abused all the way back to his small apartment. Once there he watched as Naruto pulled medical supplies out of the clo. Bandaged the cuts he had received. He was well practiced, Gaara noticed with a frown. Naruto wasn't worried because he was always a fast healer, even if it did sting. When he was finished the job a mother or father should do, Naruto headed to his room, sat on his bed, and just cried. Finally just cried. Gaara walked over, sat on the bed, attempted to wrap his arms around his friend, only to fall right through like some sort of ghost. As much as he wanted to help, there was nothing he could do as his friend. Back and forth whispering over and over again, "Why me?" in some sort of broken mantra. Time skipped forward. Gaara was standing next to Naruto as he took his exam to graduate the ninja academy. He looked on at Naruto, who could make thousands of perf copies of himself, astonished as a half-recognizable blob appeared next to the blonde. Naruto did not become a genin. He sat on the swing sadly, Gaara watching on feeling completely helpless. 2 women looked over in Naruto's direction. Good thing he didn't graduate. One said without a shred of pity. Yeah. The other replied. Can you imagine if he became a ninja? Shish. The first woman scolded her. That's taboo. Gaara was enraged. Not only did they treat Naruto like he was less than human, but it was forbidden for him to know why. Gaara fell to his knees as his friend looked down. Kicked puppy from the harsh words. There was absolutely nothing he could do. Later, Naruto was to drown his sorrows in his favorite ramen when a silver-haired chunin approached him. Mizuki-sensei. Naruto cried in surprise. Hey kid. The man, Mizuki, had a gleam in his eye that Gaara didn't trust. Let's talk. Gaara watched, eyes narrowing in suspicion, as Mizuki told Naruto about a scroll. He told him if he learned the jutsu, Iruka-sensei would let him pass the academy teach. Naruto promised to meet him deep in the woods, he would help him learn the jutsu. Gaara was getting nervous. Naruto was a very trusting, caring person, and he was Itachi. The lies the chunin fed him. Gaara wasn't very trusting, and he caught the malicious intent in the man's posture. That night, Naruto stole the scroll. Gaara yelled and screamed. He tried to grab onto Naruto, but he was still so powerless. It was unfamiliar, and it was scary. Gaara was torn away from Naruto for the first time. The village was rioting. The people wanted Naruto dead. Mizuki was there along with the other ninja. The third Hokage ordered his shinobi and kunoichi to find Naruto and bring him back, but not to kill him. Gaara was relieved. The very next moment Gaara was in the woods watching Naruto of all people diligently studying the forbidden scroll. Soon, the stupid, shameless, Mizuki showed up. He instructed the idiot before him to hand the scroll to him. Naruto wasn't paying much attention, chattering about the amazing jutsu detailed on the paper in his hands, but someone was. Iruka-sensei appeared. He was very upset that his longtime friend could use his prize even if clinically stupid, hence the perfect target student. Iruka told Naruto to give him the scroll and run. Gaara let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. With a skilled shinobi to protect him, Naruto would be fine. Unfortunately, the conniving ninja was without limits. He told Naruto that, in truth, Iruka hated him. He was the 9-tailed demon fox that killed his parents, after all. Poor Naruto was confused. It had been taboo in the village. Then, while the gears in Naruto's mind were turning, Mizuki threw the giant shuriken strapped to his back at the small boy. Gah! yelled at Naruto to look out and tried to shield him with sand, but even that wasn't listening to him. Thankfully, Iruka was there. He dove in front of Naruto, and the shuriken bore into his back rather than his student's chest. Naruto was ecstatic that Iruka cared about him. More that, he was outraged someone would dare hurt his precious sensei. Naruto's first precious person, Gaara thought in awe. For the first time in his life, Naruto made that famous X with his hands. Thousands of Narutos surrounded Mizuki and proceeded to beat the crap out of him. Oh, God, no. Anything but this. Time had once again shifted. All over again Gaara suffered the pain of having his Biju extracted. At the end when he should have been dead, consciousness remained. Worse than the pain he experienced was the conversation he overheard afterwards. People were coming to save the One Tails, and among them was the Nine Tails. The blonde one, Deidara, apologized rather insincerely to Itachi and Kisame, saying he was have to take their prey. The leader ordered Itachi to tell the two how to identify the target. Itachi explained that he would be the first to start screaming at you. The gathering ended and Deidara plopped down on Gaara's body just as the door to the cavern opened. As predicted, Naruto immediately started screaming at Gaara to and at Deidara to get off him. Deidara was determined to take yet another Jinchuriki and, noticing how badly Naruto wanted Gaara back, carried him off in an attempt to lure Naruto away from the other ninja. Kakashi, seeing through the ploy, followed Naruto. The two fought hard and, in the end, Naruto brought Gaara back along with Granny C. Gaara was alone now. All the children in the village had run away again. All he wanted to do was play. The young redhead clutched his teddy bear tightly. His bear wouldn't away from him. Never. Then a small boy with hopeful blue eyes came up to him holding a ball. Hey, want to play with me? He asked. Gaara followed, and the two boys played catch all day. Then some vicious men appeared and grabbed Naruto. Help me, Gaara, he pleaded. Those eyes dropped all hope and filled completely with fear. Gaara couldn't stand it. Stop. Gaara yelled. Stop. He ran after them, but they just kept getting farther and farther away. It didn't seem like he was moving at all. Gaara, help me. Gaara, 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 are you alright? Naruto's panicked voice finally gave way to his older sister's worried one. She hugged him tight. Kankuro stood a little ways back with a concerned look on his face. Your first nightmare. Do you want to talk about it? Nightmare? Gaara asked, his pulse still racing. Is that what those horrible pictures in my mind were called? Yes, but it won't always be like that. You can have dreams too. Dreams are nice. Temari explained. You poor thing. She cooed in a very untemary-ish fashion. Most of you, our first nightmares when we're still little, but to get it at 15 must be horrible. I'm useless. Gaara whimpered, the foreign quiver of fear mixed with sadness in his voice. Horrible. Useless. I'm useless. Gaara rocked back and forth, hugging his knee. Kankuro sat on the edge of Gaara's bed with Temari. It must have been pretty bad to get you like this, little bro. Was it about the Akatsuki? His eyes narrowed. Gaara was little brother, damn it. If he ever got his hands on one of those stupid Rouge Ninja. Partly, yes, Gaara admitted, calming down a bit with his siblings there. More centered around Naruto, though. My mind was playing through everything he told me Abu. He was a kid. All I could do was watch. Then he saved me from the Akatsuki after all the times I failed him. Then we were little kids. Everyone abandoned me, but Naruto to be my friend. Then some vicious-looking men came and took him. He begged me to help him, but all I could do was yell and watch. He looked so scared. I was useless. Gaara's head fell into his hands, but then he lifted it up and looked at his two siblings. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. He looked ashamed of the weak he just displayed, but there was something else Temari and Kankuro saw. Gaara thought they were going to leave him alone again because of it. Temari hugged him again. We love you, Gaara. We're not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about showing us your fears and problems. We want to help you. Quote. Kankuro grasped Gaara's shoulder. Yeah, you can't get rid of us that easily. I'm your big brother, Gaara. It's my job to watch out for you. I screwed that up for the first 12 years of your life, and I have no intentions of screwing it up now. Gaara looked at his siblings in awe. He never knew they cared that much about him. No one slept that night in Cage Tower. Instead, the three siblings talked, sharing with each other that they never had before. I figured it out, Gaara said, rather unexpectedly. Figured what out? The look of knowing behind her little brother's eyes made her curious. Why I worry about Naruto so much? It's confusing. But I feel the same ache when he's hurt that I do when Kankuro gets wounded. Needless to say, Gaara's elder brother wasn't expecting that. It bothers you when I get hurt. Of course, Gaara said. He looked hurt. You're my brother. Tamari sighed. Our emotionally deprived younger brother is trying to tell you he loves you, just like we love him. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And the only difference with Naruto and Kankuro is that I fight with Naruto less. That's because he's your best friend. Tamari explained. You choose your friends, but not your relatives. Siblings have a natural closeness, but personalities tend to clash. You're with each other more, so you fight more often. Gaara digested this onslaught of social information before giving Tamari a confused look. Then why don't we fight? Because I'm your awesome big sister. I love my big brother. I'm going to go bother Evan. Hope you enjoyed. Sibling fluff forever xddddd. Naruto looked up from the tree he was still tied to as he heard footsteps approaching the small camp. The men put down their food, none of which they had given Naruto. Went to investigate. Maybe it's the leaf. The desperate boy thought. Maybe I'm saved. Kakashi-sensei must be looking for me. Naruto's hopes were brutally murdered as his captors returned, leading 2 more men. Naruto would never admit it, but he was terrified. What if he never made it home? What if he was brought here simply so these people could kill Hai? Eyes widened as the 2 new men approached him. Naruto's usual optimism would not help him out of this situation. He hadn't slept or eaten in 3 days, and he was tied extremely tightly. No amount of badassness could make this situation okay. One of the men kneeled down in front of Naruto. He ran his fingers along the whisker marks on either side of the Jinchuriki's face. Naruto jerked away from the contact, have his face held firmly to keep him in place. The man seemed satisfied. You've done well. He handed the people who took Naruto a suitcase. They proceeded to count the money. Common thugs. Naruto thought. If it wasn't for their underhanded tricks I would be home and they would be either dead or in prison. Of course, I'd be annoyed as hell be. The chaos that would cause, but it's got to be better than this. Gaara heard a knock at his office door. Come in. He called. Sorry to interrupt, Kage-sama, but we need to put the new Genin teams together. Gaara frowned. He knew his normal cage duties would come up, but he really wished something so time-consuming didn't have to come up now of all times. I'd like to them first. Can this be arranged? Of course. We can go now if you want. Excellent. It really was a fine group of Genin this year. When Gaara was done, he felt he had the most well-balanced teams possible. He sat down at his desk and sighed, leaning back. Chair. Think. Gaara, think. He thought. Then he noticed the irony in the fact that he was thinking it himself to think when the time spent thinking about thinking could be used to productive thoughts. Focus. He screamed mentally. Naruto was kidnapped by the wandering ninja. Gaara pulled out the information Tsunade gave him on the offenders. They could have taken Naruto to take vengeance. The ultimate goal is to establish a ninja village. It could also be to blackmail the Leaf. Konoha is an extremely powerful village. If Konoha backed the wandering ninja, they would have a much easier time moving up in the world. If that were the case, however, why take one of the most powerful ninja the village had? A horrifying real dawned on Gaara. The Jinchuriki exist to keep a power balance between the villages and prevent a 4th great ninja war. If they ultimately want to become a ninja villa, could have taken him to enter that balance. Those bastards. Gaara's door creaked open. Gaara. Tamari called softly. Please go to bed. You haven't slept in days. Shukaku is gone. Your body can't take this kind of abuse anymore. Gaara looked up at her, fear in his eyes. But if I go to bed I'll have another nightmare, and every minute wasted sleeping is another minute Naruto is suffering. Tamari sat on her brother's desk. We're worried about him too, Kankuro and I. We're both so grateful for how much he helped you, but it's no use doing this. Naruto will. You to take care of yourself. Naruto will probably never admit this, but what he's going through now is really scary. I never thought I'd admit it either, but being taken suddenly from everything UK and subjected to whatever these strangers see fit is horrifying. There's a feeling of being powerless and worthless, not a feeling Naruto will take well. Who knows what and mental pain he could be going through. Gaara winced remembering the all but peaceful death he had. Tamari made a mental note to kick Akatsuki ass later. Gaara, there's nothing you can do if you can't even think straight. Get a good night's sleep and come back to it in. The morning. You'll be able to help Naruto better when you're fully alert. Gaara nodded his head and allowed his older sister to lead him to his bedroom. She only left once her little brother had drifted into a mercifully dreamless sleep. Gaara walked into the dining room. I figured it out. Kankuro gave a tired yawn. Figured what out? How to lure them out. Gaara was more animated than he had ever been in his entire life. His siblings were intrigued. Jiraiya sighed. Mizuki was pretty tough to crack. I'll ask you again. What do you know about Naruto's disappearance? Toad's stomach acids burnt into Mizuki's skin. Jiraiya wa. Toad sage of Konoha. No one messes with his student and gets away with it. After hearing the setup his prisoner had pulled poor Naruto into as a kid, he would have been to pound him into oblivion. Alright. Mizuki conceded. You don't stand up to Master Jiraiya. There was a cellmate a couple years ago. We talked. Naturally, we both wanted to know what the other for. We found out we were both taken down by the same annoying brat. He said something seemed strange about him. I told the guy about the fox. He was released a mo ago. Jiraiya released the jutsu, returned the offending ex-shinobi to the prison guards, and set out in search of more information. This is brilliant, Tsunade exclaimed when she finished reading Gaara's letter. What is it? Asked a very stressed and tired Shizune who had been searching for Naruto with Anbu team in case he was in need of medical assistance. Of course, they foo. Nothing. Tsunade handed Shizune the letter. Dear Lady Hokage, I believe I thought of a way to find Naruto. All we need is the correct bait. According to the information you gave me, the heinous group responsible for Naruto's kidnapping searches for jutsu to steal from other villages. I will have rumors spread about a powerful new jutsu in the sand which, of course, does not actually exist. I doubt the peep come to investigate will have Naruto with them, but they should at least have a vague idea of where he is. I have also thought of a use for the garbage I dragged in on the day of the horrible incident. Shizune took note that the seemingly emotionally detached Gaara seemed very bothered by the current situation. She continued reading. You had your ninja scanning his tiny brain specifically for information on the wandering ninja, but the man in your custody probably knows the whereabouts of the other thugs. I will inform you the minute I get any information. And I would appreciate if you did the same. There was a spot of ink where Gaara had hesitated. Naruto is my best friend. Sincerely. Gaara, Cage of the Sand. After Shizune shook off the shock of the last line, she too recognized the brilliance. Get me Inoichi Yamanaka, Tsunade commanded. Gaara's Anbu shifted nervously before him. He had killed many of their strongest while he was still just a kid, but to be fair they were trying to kill him. You will need to take off your masks for this mission. Gaara explained in his usual soft voice. The Anbu all did as they were told. You will spread out, even beyond the of Wind Country. You will be spreading rumors about a new and powerful jutsu in Suna. This jutsu is purely fictional. Disguise yourselves as civilians. Excuse me, sir. A particularly brave Anbu interjected. What is the purpose of this mission? We are trying to draw out an infamous group of ninja who are currently holding a leaf shinobi. Isn't that Konoha's problem? Gaara's eyes narrowed. We are allied with Konoha. They came to our aid when Akatsuki attacked. The ninja this group has taken, Uzumaki Naruto, saved my life. Do you further question my judgment? The Anbu did not like the implications that statement held. My apologies, Cage-sama. We will leave immediately. Gaara gave a curt nod and dismissed them.